What if raindrops fell at the speed of sound? This question comes from a very wet and very brave viewer who asks, what if raindrops fell at the speed of sound? That's about 343 meters per second, or over 1,200 kilometers per hour. You know, the kind of speed airplanes travel at before they're asked to turn off their cell phones. Let's begin with the basics. A typical raindrop falls at about 9 meters per second, depending on its size. That's already fast enough to make your shirt soggy and your hair look like it belongs to a stressed-out sea urchin. But at the speed of sound, that's over 38 times faster than normal rain. The first problem is the air. See, Earth's atmosphere really doesn't like things moving that fast through it, especially not soft, fragile blobs of water. The speed of sound isn't some arbitrary number. It's the point where air molecules just stop cooperating. Once you cross it, shock waves start forming. And if you're wondering whether a tiny raindrop can make a shock wave, yes, it can. A single raindrop hitting your car windshield at that speed would explode on impact, creating a tiny sonic boom, and probably leaving a micro crater. A normal summer drizzle would sound like an ongoing machine gun battle, not because the raindrops are heavy, they're still just a few milligrams each, but because they're breaking the sound barrier, and not in a cool Top Gun kind of way, in a your roof just got ventilated kind of way. What would it feel like to walk through sound speed rain? Short answer, you wouldn't. Long answer, you'd be turned into human Swiss cheese before you made it across the street. The kinetic energy of a small object increases with the square of its velocity. So, if you multiply a raindrop's speed by 38, its energy increases by more than 1,400 times. That's enough to break skin. And if it's hailing, well, we just invented nature's version of a high-caliber bullet storm. Umbrellas wouldn't help. At best, they'd instantly invert and then shred into high-speed confetti. Raincoats, more like impact-absorbent body bags. Buildings would need military-grade armor plating just to avoid being eroded like sandstone cliffs in a hurricane. Sidewalks would look like they've been sandblasted after every passing shower. And don't even think about skylights, unless you enjoy indoor waterfalls and spontaneous ceiling renovations. Of course, one might ask, could sound speed rain even exist? Not really, unless we cheat the laws of physics a little. For a raindrop to fall at the speed of sound, gravity would need to be dramatically stronger, or air resistance would need to be non-existent. But on Earth, air resistance is a big deal. That's why parachutes work, and also why you don't die from regular rain. If we removed the atmosphere, yes, raindrops would accelerate all the way down. But they'd also boil away instantly because of the vacuum and, we'd all be dead from lack of air. So, let's cheat more creatively. Suppose we keep the atmosphere but somehow magically accelerate all raindrops to Mach 1 right as they leave the clouds. We'll assume the clouds are just cool with that. The moment the rain starts, you'd hear nothing for a few seconds. Then, suddenly, boom, 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 boom. The sound barrier breaking shock waves would ripple through the air, flattening trees, shattering windows, and triggering car alarms in a 10-kilometer radius. Meteorologists would stop naming storms after people and start naming them after historical battles. And now, let's imagine a thunderstorm, thousands of supersonic raindrops slamming the ground every second. Lightning still exists, by the way, because clearly this scene wasn't terrifying enough. The entire sky becomes a roaring, rumbling death machine. Your best shelter option? A bomb bunker, 20 meters underground, preferably in another country. But what about animals? How do birds deal with rain at Mach 1? Short answer, they don't. They evolve underground or go extinct. Squirrels? Splat? Deer? Don't ask. Okay, let's push this even further. Suppose we have a global storm of Mach 1 raindrops. An entire planet covered in this apocalypse drizzle. Roads disintegrate. Power lines collapse. Crops are obliterated. The economy is reduced to a bartering system involving sandbags and trauma therapy. Air travel grounded forever. Airports are now just decorative buildings next to large puddles of cratered concrete. The only real winners in this world are marine creatures because they're already underwater. And as it turns out, supersonic raindrops slow down quickly in water. So, congratulations, fish. You now officially live in the safest place on Earth. Eventually, erosion caused by this rain would literally reshape the planet. Mountains would smooth out, cities would sink, forests would vanish, entire continents might begin to flatten, unless we invent global umbrellas the size of Europe. And at that point, humanity probably has bigger problems, like one.